Money moves through Central Florida in ways most people never see, but the effects are everywhere. From business growth to neighborhood change to who can recover after a setback. The way banks lend, invest, and set policy shapes the financial landscape people are trying to navigate every day. Today, on the Domino Effect, we're joined by attorney Scott Leitner of Climate First Bank to talk about how banking connects stability across our region. This is the Domino Effect, where community issues meet the systems that shape them. I'm your host, Charlene Stanford Green. Banking influences how communities grow and how families stay stable. But how? Joining us now is attorney Scott Leitner of Climate First Bank to discuss how financial systems impact Central Florida. Hi, Scott. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're so excited to speak with you today. So I want to get started with your role. You're a Senior Vice President, General Counsel, and Director of Attorney Business Banking at Climate First Bank. What do you do in that role, and where did the name Climate First Bank come from?
So it's a lot of titles, but it's a role that really developed as one of the founders of the bank. We needed someone obviously to handle any internal legal matters, and the big part of my role is really our attorney business banking department. We created a department that caters bank services to law firms and attorneys across the state and country. So that's something that I'm passionate about, is helping other lawyers and law firms grow their business, provide the support they need on the financial side. As for the name of the bank, it really goes back to our founder, Ken LaRoe, who's also a Florida licensed attorney. This is his third bank.
Wow.
He started his second bank in 2009, and it was called First Green Bank. And it was the first environmentally missioned bank in the state of Florida.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it was acquired in 2018, and shortly after that, we got the core team together, and he said, "You guys want to do another bank?" And we said, "Yeah, let's do it." And we wanted to continue with the environmental mission, and we wanted that to be front and center. And Ken's wife, Cindy, Dr. Cindy LaRoe, she's the one that actually came up with the name Climate First Bank, and it really kind of conveys what our mission is, and it's to be an environmental leader. It's to protect the planet, to do loans and lending to companies that also support our mission. For example, we do a lot of solar lending.
Okay.
We did over 5,000 rooftop residential solar loans last year, over 250 million in funding.
Oh my gosh.
So that's something that helps, obviously, people not only save money, but it helps reduce atmospheric carbon and greenhouse gases. So that's really one of the core tenets of our bank is to do the right thing. Our mission is really to do the right thing for our people, our planet, and our shareholders. And that's kind of the mission that we follow as good stewards of the planet.
I love that. We have to be good stewards of the planet because it's only one planet Earth that we're given. We have
That's
to
it.
take care of her, right?
There's no planet B. So we at this time we got to take care of Earth, and we all live here, and it's important to take care of it.
That's really, really important. I love that mission. So when you were mentioning about focus on attorney-client relationships in the banking business, how many law firms do you work with? And you said it's throughout the whole state?
Yeah. Obviously, I'm located here in Central Florida, so that's my main focus. We have some other team members in other parts of the state. We have, for example, branches in St. Pete. We have a team up in Jacksonville. We have a team in Mount Dora, Florida. We just opened a downtown Orlando office. We have our Winter Park office. But we have a digital team that covers clients all over the country. So we have clients all over, but my main core here in Central Florida is where the bulk of my clients are. I have hundreds of law firms that I do business with, and some of them just need the deposit relationships, operating accounts, IOTA accounts. Others need funding, whether they're buying real estate or whether they need a line of credit. So we provide all of the needs that those firms have.
That's amazing. And I know that your organization is also really philanthropic in terms of giving back to the community. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything we do is really for our community. And so, for example, we have our Banking for Good program, and it's a whole department that supports nonprofits. Whether it's legal aid, whether it's a variety of other nonprofits that support our bank mission. So we do a lot to support these different entities, whether it's donating money and sponsoring their events. Some of our accounts actually, for example, our attorney accounts. If every time an attorney opens up a business account, it triggers a $250 donation directly to the legal aid group of that county. So everything we do gives back in some manner.
I love that. That's amazing and really wonderful. And I'm sure that goes to your personal mission of why you want to work, continue working there.
Yeah, it's awesome to work for a company that has great values. Obviously, being profitable is important. We have shareholders that we need to answer to. That obviously invested their hard-earned money into our bank because they believed in us, and they want to see a return, and we want to be successful, because if we're not successful financially, then we can't continue our mission. So it's very important to make sure that we not only take care of our shareholders and their investment in our bank, but we want to make sure that we are supporting our communities and supporting different endeavors that are going to help our environment.
I love that. That's amazing. Yeah. So you're also a member of the Legal Aid Society of the Orange County Bar Association Board of Trustees. So why did you choose to take on that role when you have your role at work and it's another obligation? Why is that so important to you?
Well, I've always been very involved with the Orange County Bar Association, going back more than 10 years now that I've been an attorney, almost 15 at this point. And so I've been in a number of different boards. I've been on the Orange County Bar Foundation board, and I met Bethany Barber a number of years ago during the pandemic. Okay. I was helping a lot of different businesses with their PPP loans, which were supporting payroll needs while companies were shut down. It was a lifeline really to companies to help them to continue to pay their employees and staff.
This is during COVID?
During COVID,
okay.
Yeah. And so I was able to help Legal Aid with some funding and really it helped them immensely to kind of keep things moving along. And so that's where Bethany and I first met. I continued to obviously take pro bono cases and be a guardian ad litem on behalf of the Legal Aid Society. And so when there was an opening on the board, I was approached to see if I would be interested in running, and I'm so glad I did, because I've been on the board now for over 2 years, and it's great people. I've enjoyed the experience, and I hope to continue to be on the board for as long as they'll have me.
Oh, I'm sure they will continue to have you as long as you're willing to serve. And I personally thank you for that, your dedication, your service. Banks are often viewed as the economic gatekeepers. And what responsibilities do financial institutions have to ensure the economic growth here in Central Florida, especially with the clients that Legal Aid serves?
So, they say that community banks really are the driver of small businesses, and small businesses are the backbone of our economy. You hear a lot about the big, the Fortune 500 companies, but it's really the small mom and pop businesses that employ the most people, that help grow our economy, and their number one source for access to capital is community banks. So having the level of community and regional banks is of the utmost importance to these businesses, and having that personal relationship with your banker is vitally important as your business continues to grow and have additional needs, whether you need new equipment or maybe you are acquiring another business and need the capital to do that. So community banks serve a really important purpose in helping small businesses grow. So Climate First Bank, what we look at is how can we partner with as many like-minded businesses that we can, what are their needs, and what can we do to help. And the more we can help local businesses in the community, that provides more jobs. And that helps the local economy, that helps more people get employed, that helps more people move up on the economic ladder. So it's just a chain reaction, and the more businesses and people that we can help, it's going to ultimately help the local economy.
So you're investing personally and then also professionally, because the work you're doing is then having a lasting impact with regard to employment, especially here in Central Florida, and then seeing the numbers grow.
Yeah, Florida in general, we've been one of the biggest economies in the country. I think we're third in the country now in population. People are moving here every day. Our economy is huge here in Central Florida. We're tourism based.
Right.
We have all the theme parks here, and a lot of those are really low-wage jobs.
Right.
But we've also seen an uptick in a lot of higher-wage jobs. We have a lot of technology companies coming in. We have a lot of the medical companies that are coming in over to Lake Nona area. So we're seeing a lot of new and innovative type businesses coming into town that offer a lot of more high-paying jobs. So, it's a great kind of connection between the small community banks, some of these new businesses, and really helping to establish new higher paying jobs, which ultimately helps our population here.
Exactly. I want to talk more about that, Scott. If you'll stay with us, thank you again for being here. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Stay tuned.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty.
Welcome back to the Domino Effect. We're here with attorney Scott Leitner as we continue our conversation on banking and stability. Now, Scott, I want to talk to you about housing costs. They are increasing, so how do lending practices really assist clients, and how does credit access affect people getting homes?
Yeah, it's a tough question. In the simplistic form, we want to do as many loans as we can to help people realize their dreams, whether it's starting a business, home ownership. We provide all of the different tools to make that happen. But we have certain regulations that we have to follow as a bank.
Right.
Banking is one of the most regulated industries. We have to answer not only to the state, but we have to answer to the federal, the FDIC. We get bank exams. So we can't just do anything that we want. We have to stay within certain guidelines. But we try to come up with different products that makes lending, whether it's buying a house, as affordable as possible. We can't control interest rates per se.
Right.
The Federal Reserve kind of sets what the benchmark rates are, and mortgage rates kind of go up and down in line with that. And rates have been high. If you've been paying attention the last couple of years, interest rates have been up. It's been the Federal Reserve increases rates to help kind of stop inflation from running rampant. We all know prices have gone up substantially, but when rates go up to help stop inflation, it makes lending more expensive. So buying a home, that's helped the higher rates have made home ownership harder to get to. So we try to come up with different products. Maybe an adjustable rate mortgage. When rates drop, that gives you a better price on your home. We help people refinance when rates come down. So we
That's
do what
helpful.
we can.
If you can get a lower rate.
Yeah,
right,
you want to offer an array of products that will help people not only right now achieve their dream, but maybe down the road give them an opportunity to get a lower price on their mortgage.
And leading into that, what do you think banks can do to help stabilize our communities with the local economy?
Yeah, and we do our part. It's obviously a lot of moving parts when it comes to the local economy. Right. Number one, again, is jobs. It's the more people are employed in good, high-paying jobs, they're going to have more disposable income. They're going to buy bigger houses. They're going to spend more money in the local economy, and that's going to just continue to cycle and help small businesses grow. What we can do is continue to support small businesses. It's continue to provide people the capital and the lending needed to grow their business, to acquire a new business, to hire more staff. So we do what we can, whether it's buying a new building, whether it's getting the financing to get new equipment. Maybe we're going to do a loan to put solar on the roof of their building, which is going to cut their electric costs.
Right.
Yeah. So there's a number of things we can do to help small businesses. And oftentimes I'll tell a business owner, send over your financial statements. Let's look at your expenditures every month. Where can we help save some money? And a lot of times we look at their energy use and say, hey, we can really help stem the expenses here by
Right.
putting a solar system on the roof of your building. Not only is it going to be good for the planet, but it's good for your pocketbook.
Right. So it's equally and mutually beneficial at that point.
Exactly.
So making sure that there's savings in there and people can feel that impact and
Exactly.
benefit. So many people interact with banks during really stressful moments in life. If you have a medical emergency, a job loss, some type of financial hardship. And what does compassionate banking look like? Does that even exist? Can you speak to that?
Well, I don't know that that's a term that really exists, in the banking world.
Right.
What I can tell you as a community bank is it's having a relationship with your clients. If my client comes to me and says, hey, we're having a problem, there's a medical emergency. I recently had a client that had a fire.
Wow.
And, they had luckily no one was injured. It was just some property damage to their building.
Still, that's so stressful.
It's stressful.
And scary.
And we have, obviously they have a loan in place.
Right.
And we were able to work out a solution that, while they're going through the insurance, claims process, while they're making the repairs done, we were able to work with them to help reduce their payment for the interim period. Which will allow them to get the repairs done, get back up and running. And so it's just having those relationships where you could go to your banker and say, hey, I'm having this issue, and let's discuss some different options. Maybe we can help out. And I think that's really where the compassion comes in. It's just, what can we do as a banker, as someone that has a good relationship with you?
Right.
What can we do to help?
Yeah, and that goes a long way, though. People, want to make sure that where they're banking, you understand their needs and concerns and priorities. And when you have a setback like that, or something that takes place, it's unexpected. I know it would be great to go somewhere where you can understand and empathize, but also say, hey, here are some resources and options available for you.
Yeah, because the more having that conversation, maybe we uncover some additional ways that we can help. Maybe there's something that we can refer them to another entity or a nonprofit that would be able to assist.
Right.
So you just don't know until you have that conversation. And I always tell people it's better to come to us at the front end than waiting until
Too late.
It's really in a situation that we can't help.
Right.
So it's just being open and honest, coming to us with any potential issues, and we'll talk about potential solutions.
I love that. So as both a banker, attorney, and a pro bono attorney, wearing many hats with legal aid, how do you think about the intersection between financial systems and legal systems, especially when people are one crisis away from an eviction or losing their home? How do those intersect together?
Well, it's kind of a full circle moment for me. I started my career actually in the construction industry.
Oh, interesting.
And so I was helping people, I worked for a construction product company. I was part of the construction boom in the 2000s, and people were buying houses left and right.
Right.
And then after I went to law school, I worked in a firm that did a lot of foreclosure defense work. So I felt like I was helping people at the worst point in their lives.
So critical.
Yeah, we were going through the Great Recession. People were struggling. People were fighting to save their homes. They were underwater. And so really that was my first really work in the legal field, is coming up with solutions, whether it was fighting the foreclosure, helping people get a loan modification, helping people through a short sale, and just coming out with a good set of plans and solutions to help them get out of the mess that they were in. So I feel like banking and the legal side of things, they work together.
Right.
Your attorney, when you're dealing with a foreclosure or some other type of crisis, whether it's a divorce or, a medical emergency, again, open communication, having that conversation with your bank and saying, hey, I'm having these problems, talking with your attorney and saying, this is what I need to accomplish. And, when you tackle it from the front end, you're going to have more time to come up with better solutions, and hopefully we can reach an agreement with whatever needs to happen in order to get a good outcome for the client.
Yeah, exactly. And people want to know that if they are a legal crisis away, that you're there for them to turn to and be able to ask those questions and have a candid conversation that maybe they don't always want to have, but it's so important and necessary for them to be able to just be truthful with you so you can offer some really valuable solutions and advice.
Exactly.
So I want to talk more about your pro bono efforts as well as your work with legal aid. So stay here with us, and we're going to go ahead and be right back after another word from our sponsor. So please stay tuned. For our final segment, we'll discuss what a meaningful change in banking could look like for Central Florida. So Scott, legal aid often steps in when people are having a financial instability and they're one step away from a legal crisis. How can banks partner with other nonprofits like legal aid to step in to make sure those crises don't become bigger?
Well, I don't know that we can directly help someone that's in a legal crisis.
Right.
That's kind of outside of what a bank would, kind of outside of our realm and what we do. But our relationship with different nonprofits that are available in our community that can assist someone that's in a crisis or having an issue, I think that's where we really can shine. Our relationships with nonprofits and the services that we provide to them, I think that's really where we benefit. And the fact that we don't charge a lot of fees, we donate back to a lot of these nonprofits when they bank with us. That gives them more capital, more ammunition in their arrow in their quiver to help their constituents, people that are in the community that are in crisis. And so it's kind of a snowball effect. The more that we can help some of these nonprofits, that gives them the ability to help more people in the community.
You just touched on the fees for the nonprofit. So that I was wondering about that. How much does it cost for like a nonprofit to go to you for services? Do you have then special structure pricing when it does come to community partnerships?
Yeah, in general, we try to not charge fees for any of our accounts.
Okay,
There's
that's
always,
awesome.
Yeah, it's great. And that's why, I always equate it to, the way airlines used to be. You bought a ticket and that included everything.
Even your seat.
Yeah, and now they nickel and dime you for everything.
Right.
You got to pay for a seat. You got to pay for a food.
Luggage.
You got to pay for your check bag. You got to pay for your carry-on. And it gets a little ridiculous. You want headphones, you want food, you want a drink, they're going to charge you for everything.
Correct.
And banks started kind of following that path of, we're going to charge you for monthly access to your account, we're going to charge you for online banking, we're going to charge you for a certain amount of transactions. And when you get into business banking, they're going to charge you for fraud protection. They're going to charge you to do every ACH and every money transfer.
Wow.
And so when we created this bank, we said, let's be different. Let's not nickel and dime our clients. Let's provide a great suite of products and services that aren't going to cost our clients money. We're going to pay very fair interest rates, which we do. So it gives people not only a great banking experience, you're going to get great customer service, great technology, but you're also going to not feel that your bank is taking advantage of you and charging you a bunch of fees just to have access to the system. So I think a lot of businesses, nonprofits, and consumers enjoy the fact that we don't charge them a bunch of unnecessary fees. You do business with us, it's simple, it's easy, you get to talk to a human being, you can
An actual person that can
talk
answer
to
my
a person.
questions.
You can pull out your phone, have access on the app. You can get on your desktop. Online banking's right there. So we just make it very simple and easy to work with us. And I think that just kind of translates into our clients, whether it's a business, a nonprofit, that just gives them the ability to do more and grow, whether it's helping the business grow, helping nonprofits, helping their constituencies, achieve their goals too.
Right. not just serving, but actually trying to survive and
Yeah.
thrive.
Yeah, we just don't want to be a burden. We want to be a good partner, a good steward. We want to help our community. Again, it's in our DNA, it's our mission, and by just being the best that we can be, it helps our clients achieve their goals.
I love that. That's so important. I know you don't want to go somewhere and, like you said, you're banking and then all of a sudden there's all these fees that, are going to be stacked on top. And you're like, I just want to bank and have a place that, is safe for my funds to be. So I think that's really important. I'm sure people really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's just the little things like, a lot of banks will charge you if your balance gets too low in your account. You get hit with a fee, or if you don't have direct deposits set. There's a lot of things
Minimum
that could
balance.
trigger different fees, and we just don't do that.
I love that. That's awesome. So trust in financial institutions can be really fragile. And what steps should banks take to rebuild trust within the communities that really have historically been underserved? Can you speak to that?
Yeah, it's one of those situations where you go back to the Great Recession, and there was a lot of banks that failed.
Right.
And people, it has a negative effect on our economy. People are shook when you see these institutions that have been around for decades, all of a sudden they're failing. And it's
scary.
It's scary, yeah. People are worried, are they going to lose their money? Obviously, the FDIC insures accounts up to $250,000, so you could be rest assured that your deposits are safe when you're at an FDIC.
Up to that threshold, right?
Up to that threshold. We actually offer a product that can FDIC insure accounts up to $60 million.
Oh, wow.
So we have a solution that can really set your mind at ease. Your funds are going to be protected. So that's
awesome.
That's very important for a lot of, especially nonprofits. They want to make sure all of their deposits are safe.
Correct.
And so we can achieve that goal for them. But so it's important, to know that your financial institution's on sound ground, that they are going to be there in the long haul, that they're not going to have any hiccups and potentially fail down the road, because we've seen it happen. We've been through the recession. So it's just knowing that your institution's making sound investments, that they're doing the right thing, and they're not really, the danger is if they are doing loans that aren't safe and secure. And we do a good job of underwriting and making sure the lending that we do not only is mission aligned, but is a good, safe investment for the bank and our shareholders.
It's a win-win.
Win-win.
I love that. As a legal aid board member, how has your service shaped the way you think about the banking's roles in strengthening families and promoting fairness here within our community, especially when those want to achieve that long-term financial stability, purchase a home, purchase a car, have insurance, being able to make goals for their families? What does your personal outlook?
Well, being on the board of legal aid has given me a lot of insight to our community. The people in it that are going through some of the tougher times in their life, and luckily they're able to come in and get the help that they need on the legal side of things. And I think that's obviously something that's vitally needed across the country, is helping to address the low and moderate income legal needs. And you have a major legal problem or a medical problem, something along those, it could ruin you financially.
Everything changes.
It changes everything. And so, it's opened up my eyes to what we can do, not only just as a bank, but as a community lender and a community leader to help people that may be in a situation where, they need some help, whether, we can help them, maybe they need to have access to capital, and we can set up a HELOC where they can pull some equity out of their home to help with an emergency. Or maybe...
right? What is the HELOC for those that may not know what that is?
HELOC stands for a home equity line of credit.
Okay.
And it's a vehicle where you could access the capital in your home. It's a line of credit, so you only pay interest on whatever you borrow against your home. So that's honestly, it's one of the number one small business lending tools in the country.
Wow.
A lot of people, when they start a business, they access the capital in their home, which is their largest asset in most cases. So having that ability to access capital, to use it not only for growing a business or maybe doing some improvements to your home, making it more energy efficient, or maybe you're using it for an emergency situation. So those are all, kind of roads that you can travel to, access the capital in your property to help you out of a situation. But in general, there's people that have going through some tough times,
Right.
whether it's legal, medical, or anything else, and just being there to listen. And even if I personally can't help them,
Right.
I may know
Someone that can.
someone else that can help, whether it's a law firm, a nonprofit, another community organization that we can set them up with.
Yeah, you definitely have a heart for service, and I know you personally, so I thank you so much for taking the time to be here to speak with us about Climate First Bank and your personal mission in serving with the legal aid. And I really know for me, I've learned a lot today, so thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me. It was
Of
great.
course, yes. We're so fortunate to have leaders like Scott engage in this kind of work. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Charlene Stanford Green, and this is the Domino Effect.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty.
For over 60 years, the Legal Aid Society has provided legal representation to clients on issues like those discussed in today's episode. Our mission is to ensure that every member of our community has access to high-quality legal support and justice. If you're facing a legal issue, don't hesitate to reach out to the Legal Aid Society of the Orange County Bar Association. Just call 407-841-8310. As a nonprofit law firm, we rely on dedicated volunteers and generous donations to continue our work. To learn how you can get involved, visit legalaidocba.org. Thank you for watching The Domino Effect. And remember, perpetual goodness goes a long way. Until next time.